Hey everybody, it's TF Nut. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing another action figure review. This is going to be of the Kaiyodo Revoltech Amazing Yamaguchi Figure Complex My Hero Academia Shoto Todoroki. Very happy to have this figure. It's been delayed for a bit and it's finally out now. I got mine from Amiami. They shipped extremely fast, a lot faster than usual actually for this. So, glad to have this here. Originally was going to get the Figma. I decided to wait it out when I saw that Amazing Yamaguchi was pretty much taking over the My Hero Academia line. I have this here. I have a Deku as well as Bakugo. I have the re-release of all my, pre-ordered, and then eventually we're going to get Hawks as well as Endeavor and hopefully a few other characters. So I think that they're doing pretty great with this line, Kaiyodo and Revoltech and whatnot. So I hope they keep going. Anyway, let's go ahead and take a look at the packaging. Lots of stuff going on here with the packaging. A lot of the stuff I already talked about when it comes to Amazing Yamaguchi and Revoltech, all those logos there. Figure in the box right here. For some reason, mine was packaged with him looking all the way to the left for some reason. A few of the accessories are loose, but I think that's really the only issue here. There's a lot of colors going on here, too. We go down to the bottom half here. It does say Shoto Todoroki, series number 26, as well as who it's sculpted by. And on the far right there, you can see My Hero Academia. On this side, you have an image of the figure with some of the accessories and some different shots in the background of the packaging of him with some different accessories and poses and whatnot. A bunch of those other logos I already mentioned. On this side here, not much going on except you have this image of him using one of the fire effects, but you also have some images from the anime too. On top here, it's just strictly an image of the Todoroki from the anime, as well as a bunch of those other logos. On the bottom here, another image of Todoroki from the anime, a barcode in case you need it, as well as the Toho animation sticker and a bunch of other information there. When we look on the back of the packaging, you see lots of stuff going on with poses, all the different accessories that it comes with, a bunch of different information going on here. You can see what he looks like with some of the other characters as well. Let's go ahead and get this figure out of the packaging. Here is Todoroki out of the packaging, and overall I think it's a very nice figure. I'm glad to have it. I do have a few issues with it though, nothing too major, but for the price you're paying, yeah, they kind of bug me a bit. However, the majority of the figure is really nice and it's fun to play with. Let's go ahead and take a look at the accessories, then we'll take a closer look at the figure. Like with a lot of imports figures, we do have an instruction manual here. It doesn't cover exactly everything it comes with, but it does cover how you're going to use pretty much every alternate accessory. So look at this absolute stacked amount of accessories. Just a huge spread here. We're going to be on this section for a little while. So skip here if you want to go right into the figure. Let's start with the effects pieces, because pretty much every unique effects piece, if it has a double, it is the exact same sculpt. So there's two of these here, so we're just going to cover one of these. It's a very nice translucent blue plastic. It goes darker from here all the way, it goes up here until it gets like a frost white. Very, very nice. It's nice spikes here. They're not too sharp. They could be brittle though, so be careful. This is definitely a harder plastic as well. You can see some shapes forming on that and whatnot. A bunch of the effects pieces do have these pegs here that look like wrist pegs. These light blue things that could swivel in here and hinge. That's because he has a lot of ports on his arms and legs and whatnot for you to attach these. He actually comes with 2 extra of these as well in order to make some of that happen. So on the inside, this is what that looks like. It's a lot of, again, really nice frost looking details with the sculpting and whatnot, as well as the paint apps in there going from blue to white. Dig that a lot. We have 3 of these fire effects, and these are really sick. It's also a very similar type of translucent plastic, except like yellowish orange. This one has an orange peg on there this time, and it has a little bit of red on the both ends, as you can see, and it goes from translucent into a little bit more of a solid color here. Again, all 3 of these are the exact same sculpt, but the detail and the waves and whatnot going in here, looking pretty nice. I said whatnot twice, I just realized. And then, I believe these are also the exact same. This one, no, they're the exact same color. I thought one was darker than the other, but these pieces here are some smaller ice effects, I believe, that go around the arms and whatnot. I think the instruction book will tell you, but these don't have the hinging and swiveling pegs. They just have this solid peg that goes into like the arms and legs and whatnot. But we do have a dark blue translucent plastic going into frost white there. We also have this really cool hand ice effects piece here. And you can see how flat that is on the bottom. You know, he touches the ground and makes those pieces fly out. And that's just for this hand here. We only get one of these, unfortunately, but with that, which trying to do this through the camera sometimes is tricky, the fingers should fit on there perfectly. Of course, when I do it off camera, it finally works. But it interlocks in his fingers really nice, actually. So this is a really cool effects piece that we get there. And before we move on to like the other hands and whatnot, we do have the word effects. Now, one thing I gotta mention, I don't think this is Kaiyodo's fault. There's a lot of really bad wrinkling going on in the film on these plastic pieces. I think it's because this was delivered in hot weather. It's really hot today where I am. And I think that this has been sitting in a warehouse and a truck for the past, however long it took Amiami to get it to me when it entered the States. So that is a little unfortunate if that is the weather. I don't know if anyone else is going to have that problem. That could suck for a lot of people. But we have this long one here. It has some really nice colors on the lettering into the translucent plastic right there. We have this smaller one for a fire effect that can be foosh and whatnot. I'm sure this one here can be for anything. And this one here, shout out to Robo, it's quite literally foosh. As you can see, this one looks more like the ice effect right there. And that has some really bad wrinkles in the film, unfortunately. A clear stand piece here that will go on to the Revoltech stand, and then you can see these slots here. You can put in the words and whatnot. We also have a cell phone here. This is a really nice smartphone. You can see he's texting someone. It does have a sticker on here in Paint Apps. I think it's a sticker mostly. It's just him texting someone. It's just a solid black color, but it does have some cool details like buttons, speakers, maybe a charging port, not entirely sure, but that's really sick. Now, we do also have this face piece here that goes onto the hair. You can see where it plugs in and whatnot. This has a fire effects piece glued onto it that has some translucent orange, yellowish plastic, and as well as some red toward the tips there. And the hair is a little bit more crazy here. The paint apps where the red and the white meet are pretty nice, I think. Let's move on to some of the other hands. I already talked about that one flat hand that we only get a right hand of. These are more open posed hands for doing certain fire and ice attacks. All these hands are pretty much colored the exact same way, where it looks like a little bit of a shiny skin tone on here. And the as you can see, the fingers on the inside have some, they're not like super duper detailed, but they look detailed enough to look like actual hands. So I'm not going to complain there. These are more relaxed hands. I think they're posed in a certain way to where they could probably be multi-purpose, but mostly probably relaxed hands. You can see how some of the fingers are curled and whatnot. I love when my camera battery dies. Anyway, we have this hand here, and I freaked out for a second because I thought we had two of these hands. When I was looking at the packaging, they looked very similar the way that they're sculpted. However, you could see these, the ring and the pinky finger are bent a lot more, and this is for holding, if I can do it properly. This is for holding the phone. It can stick in there pretty nice. It won't fall out. You might want to not leave it like this because the black paint, I don't know if it is molded in a black or, painted or molded in a black plastic, but that black could scuff onto his fingers. Last of the hands is this hand. It has an index finger sticking out. That's for holding the collar. We have, instead of a lot of interchangeable eyes like some of the My Hero figures and some of the other amazing Yamaguchi figures, we have different face plates. A lot of them are done very similarly, so I'm going to go through them pretty quick, where it has the red right there, the blue and the gray eye right there. All the printing on here is actually looking really nice. It's pretty, you have a little bit of paint going on to the ears and mouth, as you saw there too. This is more of just a very emotionless, stoic face. This one is similar, but he's looking off to the left this time. We have a much angrier, gritting teeth face. You can see some of the lines around his eyes to give off that he's angry. A little bit of a curled lip. You can kind of see his teeth. The detail on the teeth isn't amazing, but you know, the paint work in there is pretty decent. It's pretty much a similar gritting teeth face. Looking to the left though, is that a scuff? Nope, that was just something weird. Now this one is him looking downward actually. It could be looking straight, but also kind of looks like he's looking downward. So you could probably make that work either way. We also have this, again, a stoic face, but this one's also looking downward here. And then last but not least, a stoic face of him looking over to the right. You can see, I think there's actually some pretty prominent, you know, a line in the lip here besides the, you know, instead of the rest of them. Sometimes you can't really tell. Last but not least, because man, there's a lot of stuff, but this is a very basic stand from Kaiyodo and Revoltech that has a lot of ports. Pop this off, put it in like so. Adjustable neck here, swivels here as well, and it has an adjustable neck clamp up here, so it can clamp onto the back of the figure. You take that out, pop this on here. As you can see, that's meant for holding some of the word effects, if I can do this carefully. Yeah, so you can make that work pretty well. If you stuck around that long for the accessories, I appreciate you. If not, totally understood. Here is the face. I don't know what it is, but I feel like this looks a little different from what's shown off on the box art and promotional images. It doesn't look too different though. I don't know what it is that's kind of throwing me off, but I don't think it's, well, I mean, Deku and Bakugo's didn't look perfectly to the anime either. But this one, it's really not that bad. I can't really pinpoint exactly where the problem I have with it is. It looks fine. This is definitely a more frowning face here than the other stoic ones, where he just doesn't have any emotions there. So very nice default face. Some nice white paint. You can see where some of the plastic separates there from when you're, you know, popping this headpiece or hairpiece off really. Then you get to the red here. All that sculpting. Could be a little bit better in the hair in some areas, but the paint work is really nice. Not much splotching going on here. Back of the head has a hinge, so that way it looks a little loose on mine. But that's, I guess it's good that it's loose so it doesn't get in the way, but you can see how that works. It doesn't like that with, I think, Bakugo. Could be like that with Deku as well. I don't exactly remember right now. Head is a little bit loose as well. Wanted to mention. That's kind of the one complaint I have so far, is that parts are pretty loose. Definitely the lower torso. I did have to pop it off because there was a lot of the plastic that covers the joints from you know, scuffing with each other. I popped it out, but it popped back in just as easily, so it shouldn't have been that loose. So it's not. Well, yeah, it's a bit of a problem there. So the head and the lower abs are pretty loose, but back to the details. Nice silver on that collar piece. I think it's mostly white going around on the back of the collar. I really like what we have with the harness going on here. That paint comes through really clean with that gray. All those, not really ports, but just a bunch of holes and vents and whatnot. The way that the strap looks, looking nice. Contrast of the gray and brown in there. A little bit of brown splotched like ever so slightly onto the gray though. It's not too bad with me. Nice wrinkles throughout a lot of the body. You can see on the arms here. It's not much other details besides wrinkles. It's just a very dark blue here, but you do get to see some of the holes and ports on the back as well as the back of the arms. And then there's the joints going on there, which look a little distracting, but not too bad since it's the same color. Then you get down to the forearm, where you can see all that skin tone and whatnot, the brown and silver bracers with this really nice silver paint. You can see a hole right there. That's what it looks like on the other side as well. I believe these parts of the brace, yeah, they're a separate piece. And then when you pop the hand, I think they should stay in. I think. Popping that out, no, that will actually pop out. Okay, I think it'll probably help if it does pop out in case you need to make room for some of the effects pieces, but that can be easily lost, unfortunately. But that is a softer plastic, this brown part that goes around, you know, basically the fist that he comes packaged with right there. Then we have this light beige, almost brown, with the dark brown there. So these little capsule pieces or whatever these are, don't remember exactly. They don't move here, but they move on the front. They're on a swivel. They have some nice silver paint too, and pretty good lines sculpted in there. I dig those. I think Figma might have a similar one for their Todoroki, but I don't remember exactly because I don't own that, sadly. We do have some nice wrinkles go all the way down to on the legs, from the upper legs down to the lower legs. We have these patterns on the upper legs going to the knees. Lots of wrinkles and whatnot. It looks like there might be, I think they couldn't get some of this paint in here, but it kind of makes it look like there's some shading of light and dark blue. I could be crazy though. I think it's just because they couldn't get into here where some of the joints are covered and get some paint done. But it doesn't look bad. It doesn't look distracting at all. The back of the knees. And we do have the back of the boots, which also have some hole ports right there. When you look on the shins, you got this nice dark gray line going all the way down. Some nice wrinkles around the ankles. We have some, I guess, buttons or buckles or whatnot around the top of the boots. We have metal pins in here for the toe hinge. Bottom of the feet, you can see some of the treading on there. Very circular. We do have some peg holes on the bottom of the feet there. So, let's stand this boy up. One thing I'm nervous about because of how the paint is layered on here, I don't want scuff on the skin tone of the hands. That might end up being unfortunate if it does that. So, some of the accessories are still in the background of over on the right if you can see it. Doing a quick 360 for you. Show you how it looks. Pretty nicely detailed. So, doesn't look too different since, you know, the Amazing Yamaguchi stuff has a lot of a unique design. It's still, you can still recognize it as a My Hero Academia, Macadamia character. I need to finish this part because, man, I'm having trouble speaking. So we already talked about the hair piece there that does hinge. The rest of the articulation is very similar to the rest. I realized that this is a loose piece, so I forgot to mention that. But very similar to the rest of the Kaiyodo and a lot of other imports figures. Ball jointed head goes all the way around side to side. A really good range of motion actually because the hair does move. And we do have a neck joint going into the torso. So it does allow for all this different type of range of motion. And while it is loose, you know, moving around, it's a little bit loosey-goosey, it does keep a pose, so that's good. We have these butterfly, like, ball joint arms that even, like, there's like double ball joints going on there. We have double peg. So it just allows all this range of motion going on here. I believe, well, it's going to show the joints if you take it off, but I believe you can take off the backpack because it feels very movable. But I think actually the back piece here is glued on there, so I don't know about these straps. I could be completely wrong on that. Ignore that. Upper arm swivel. Yeah, man, there's just a lot of stuff going on here with the engineering. We have a swivel going into the upper arm, but also swivels at this part of the forearm, and it has a single joint elbow that basically acts like a double jointed elbow. Standard wrist articulation for a lot of imports. It hinges, you know, this way, and then it can swivel, so you can make it hinge forward and back. I'm having a little bit of trouble with it right now. Upper waist swivel, so it's on a ball joint. Go all the way here, back kind of. You can kind of see a gap in there. Forward pretty well, and then side to side like so. And again, a little bit loose here, but it does swivel all the way around, side to side, back and forth. It's not as good, but you get it up here. So, really, the back actually, for some reason, yeah, it could be better, honestly. But the forward is crazy. Look at that. That's awesome. Now for the legs. Getting down here, trying not to rub up the paint too much. You will want to make it swivel. You know, the upper thigh can swivel, so that way it kicks out all the way, and then it can kick out in and out. Swivels as kind of like a slanted angle here. I don't think it has a drop down system either, But we do have a swivel going up into the leg for the knee. Single joint knee that bends really far, as you can see. And then this part right here also swivels. So it allows all this swiveling here. I don't think the boots swivel, but we do have swiveling at the ankles. A hinge that goes upward that much and downward that much. You can force them maybe a little bit more. It does have a ankle rocker in there. And then last but not least, toe hinge. For size comparisons, have the other two amazing Yamaguchi My Hero Academia figures that I own. On the left, Deku, on the right, Bakugo. Bakugo is taller than the other two. I don't know how accurate that's supposed to be, but you can see that Todoroki is pretty close in scale with Deku. Here are some other figures I wanted to show off. A couple of people asked me to show off some other imports lines with this figure. So on the left, we have the Figma Deku. On the right, we have SH Figure Watch, Jujutsu Kaisen, Yuji Itadori. Far left, we have Marvel Legends Black Suit Spider-Man. Far right, we have the first version of Mandalorian from Star Wars The Black Series. You can see, since all these are from different lines, they all range in scale with each other, with Marvel Legends being the tallest. Overall, this is a very nice figure here being offered by Kaiyodo and Revoltech. I think they did a really great job, especially in the details and paint. Top-notch paint work going on here. Really great details. It does have its more unique look for the amazing Yamaguchi line, but it also still looks very much like it came out of the anime at the same time, at least to me. You know, some of the joints, they are a little bit loose, but not so loose to where it can't keep a pose. I have some of the heavier effects pieces, which they're really not that heavy, but the larger effects pieces into the arms, they actually keep a pose pretty well. There it comes with a lot of accessories and effects pieces, so you can do a lot of posing and playing around with this figure. Yeah, the word effects with the film coming off is pretty annoying, but I don't think that was Kaiyodo's fault. I do think that was, unfortunately, the summer heat. Overall, a very solid figure. I got mine from Amiami. I had some points saved up, thank goodness, because I got mine for $80, including the shipping, which I use DHL shipping. There's some other places you can get this from, too. I'll leave links down in the description below. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Comment down below what you think about the figure, what you think about the review. Leave a like, share amongst your friends. Follow me on Instagram for more content over there, and I'll see you guys later.